Hey, everybody. I am Sam Osterhout, the executive producer here at Lincoln Square. And you'll notice perhaps that I'm not Alex Shashlow.
Yeah.
Alex is taking a nice break for a very good purpose this week, last week, and maybe next week. We'll see. He'll probably be back next week. Joe Trippi, how are you?
Good to be with you, Sam. And thanks for taking up the slack here. You know, Alex, I think, I don't know. I think you're up to it. I really do. I mean, from past performances anyways.
Well, I appreciate that. Flattery will get you everywhere,
right?
Obviously, but big shoes to fill with Alex.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We get, man, Joe, we get a ton of questions for you. I don't know if it's because you're the lonely Democrat, in the Lincoln Project stable, or what happened, what it is, but it's we just get some great questions. And by the way, for everyone watching, you can always send questions. You can put questions in the chat. You can put questions in the comments of these posts afterwards. We love getting them. So should we start?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Why isn't murdering Venezuelan fishermen disqualifying for Hegseth? Do you think any of these people, Hegseth, Patel, RFK, are eventually going to get the axe?
I'd actually be kind of amazed if any of them got the axe. I mean, the fact is, I think Trump, he fired a lot of people in his first term, and I think they've decided, I think he's decided he's not doing that this time, right? That frankly, the reason he fired them was because they weren't people who would do what he wanted, that he felt they were holding him up. So he's not going to fire these guys because this is what he wanted them to do. He wanted them to blow up these boats and kill these people and do the second tap, whether it comes out or not and how much they cover up. But I mean, which is the other thing they are. They continuously do is cover up just about everything. So, I mean, for Epstein files, we'll still see what happens there. But no, I don't expect any of them to be fired. And yes, it should be disqualifying to answer the question.
I mean, it's a crazy question. In any other time of the universe, that would be like the dumbest question you ever asked.
Yeah.
I also wonder, you said he's not going to fire him because they're doing what he wants. Do you think he understands that they're also there to take cover for him? I mean, his policies are terrible. His actions are terrible.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're doing, there's an admiral who is the one they're pointing to. I mean, they'll point at everything, but it's everybody's there. It's all to serve Donald Trump, to cover for him, to whatever. And yeah, we've seen him repeatedly throw people under the bus if that's what he needs to do. But I think that's a far cry from firing. Others, I think maybe, they just don't have much power if he wants to move somebody else into a role or diss them. But I just don't see him. I think one of the lessons he learned in his head from the first time is two. Make sure you don't have people who will put up obstacles. Make sure they're people that will yes men and sycophants that will do exactly what you want. Yep. And two, don't fire people. I mean, which you don't have to because that's who you picked in the first place. But I think for those two reasons, he doesn't want to fire anybody. He doesn't want that. 6 secretaries of whatever in a week, kind of thing that he was going through with all the chaos last time. So I don't think that's what he's going to do.
No, and I think, it's sad. It's too bad, because these are the worst people that I could ever imagine being in these jobs. They really need to. He's deserve
got the really bad people he needs this time, so he's not going to have to fire any of them.
Only the best.
You have to imagine what it would have to be. I mean, what thing would they have to do to actually get Donald? Oh, that was too mean. No, I mean, come on.
No.
He doesn't. Right. He doesn't think they're maybe it can because they're not being mean enough or something. But that's likelier.
Well, yeah, or the slightest bit of criticism isn't there.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Trump's polling is in the tank, and he's starting to talk about affordability being a hoax. What can Democrats do to mess up this opportunity? I like this phrasing, by the way, because it does feel like a kind of a gimme. In a perfect world, these polling numbers, these, the tariffs, the chaos, the kidnappings, all the stuff feels like it would add up to a slaughter.
No, well, it is. I mean, it is for sure. All the evidence, all the election evidence, all the exit polling says that all this moaning about, gosh, are the Democrats up to it or whatever? Hey, look, they were 7 points above the generic vote in Virginia, 5 points above them in New Jersey, 13.7 points in Tennessee, 7 above what Harris did versus Trump in 2024. And so the one thing I continue to tell people is, look, there are various different flavors in the Democratic Party. Yes, there's Mondami, there's AOC, there's Abigail Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill. And what I've, over the years, for the most part, we tend, the candidate in Iowa 1 tends to be a pretty good reflection of what the people in Iowa 1 are attracted. And so getting in who's our message is, are we all going to be this or that? It's neither, none of that stuff. We're all, it's going to be, a very diverse House caucus on the Democratic side. And because of that, it's sometimes hard to get everybody, marching to the same drum beat. It's not monolithic, but in the end, here's the stat. Like when you look at, when Spanberger won by 7 points over the generic, over what people thought in Virginia, that night, Democrats swept the House of Delegates, winning 64 of 100 seats. It was a massive wipeout at 7 above the generic, okay? Right. If you look at Tennessee 7, and if you said, well, wait, if all the Democratic nominees for Congress did 13.7 points above what Harris did in their district, that's 258 House seats. It is a massive blue wave. Now, look, do I think it'll be 13.7 in every district? No. But my point is, if it's between 7 or 5 and 13.7, I mean, these are all things again, look at the data, look at what that data is saying. And guess what? No, affordability isn't a Democratic scam. And you don't have to listen to me or any Democrat to say that. You go to the grocery store, or shop for the new dishwasher or washing machine or whatever you're getting. Furniture, forget it; it's off the charts. And by the way, healthcare, those premium notices are going out right now. That great Trump plan for healthcare that was what is becoming the infrastructure week thing this time around. We were supposed to have a healthcare plan. He doesn't have one. He's not going to. And so that's going to make healthcare costs go up. So, rural hospitals will be shutting down. All these things that I think point to, and then all these things point to the winds at our back right now. Mm-hmm. The other thing is when you look, I'm looking at who is running in these seats, and we have a spectacular, talented group of candidates, and very few, what I would say, sort of dogfight left versus, center kind of fights that can happen. I think they reflect the really good candidates reflect the district. So you put all that together. The one fear, the only, which is why we have to continue to mobilize, continue to organize, continue to do no kings and other things is, it's going to up his authoritarian grab. The Supreme Court just gave Texas gave him the 5 seats in Texas, things like that. But even that, Sam, I just think when they did this in Texas, they drew those districts thinking that they owned the Latino vote, that margin that Trump had over with Latinos in 2024. So we'll draw this district, we'll put this many Latinos, this one over here, and we'll have a really, it's be a little closer, but we'll have a safe Republican district because we're going to take a steal from over here and push a Democrat out. Guess what? The young people, when you're looking at these numbers, the young people demographics that they were planning on, the Latino demographics, literally just about every single group that they banked on to draw those lines is not with them anymore. And so I'm not sure that they even benefit with the Supreme Court giving them those 5 seats. They may have been, it's one of those careful what you wish for things, because I think they drew those lines in a completely different world than we are in today.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, independents are almost nobody is sticking around with this guy.
No, independents are really, I mean, they're literally becoming hardcore anti-Trump and MAGA.
Yeah.
I don't see any way. And that gets back to the whole, everything he does, from the double tap, killing 2 people, hanging on the edge of the vote, the alligator, Alcatraz, all that stuff is to feed his base that just craves more, more punishment, more retribution. And the problem is, every time, it feeds the base, but it really has fed the move away from it. I mean, the independents, the young people, Latinos, particularly with the mass deportations and putting troops in the streets. No, it may be inflaming his base, but frankly, when you look at the turnout in Tennessee 7, that turnout was 1,000 votes less than the midterm in 2022. So you had an actual, not a special election turnout, you had a massive midterm election turnout. And guess who turned out? A lot more than them.
That's Bill had that question about Tennessee, and I think there's something to be said about Trump's strategy of just being a fucking troll, right? Of being cruel and the sort of social media president, where the problem with social media is it's online, it's not rubber hitting the road, it is all messaging and no action. And it's always a race to the bottom. Like, you get likes and you get hits, and this better than any of us, because you built a whole platform to try to combat this.
Yeah.
And Trump has to find the bottom, and there's just no bottom. And I think at some point, independents and people are like, none of this trolling shit makes any difference in my life, but I can't afford to send my kid to get her asthma meds. That's real stuff.
Yeah, and that's why it's not a hoax. It's not a scam, Democratic scam. And Democrats don't need to go out and deny, no, it's not a scam. It's just, people, it's like, what should Democrats do? Well, just and you're seeing this. I think a lot of Democrats who are running have real alternative policies and a vision for the future. Yeah. But right now, I think Trump and MAGA are doing a lot of the damage for us and to themselves.
Yeah, it does seem like there are a lot of ways Democrats can win.
Absolutely.
This question really caught my eye. Do you think Trump's willingness to sign the bill to potentially release the Epstein files neutralize that issue for him? We mentioned it at the top of the show. And Bobby says, I'm hearing less and less about it these days.
No, it won't go away for him at all. I mean, first of all, we'll see what they actually release, which will be another firestorm if they, don't release anything or very little. I just don't think in the end, I mean, that one's not a hoax either. And the survivors are out there saying this is not a hoax and doing it dead to camera. And there'll be many more events where that happens as these come out. And also, So if he does truly, really release them and the other names come out, I don't see how in the end that benefits him. We'll see. But no, I think, look, I think, Sam, you just talked about this. I think part of the problem now, it's one thing, can he get away with this stuff if he's got a 53% favorability rating and the economy's going great and all those
Right.
things? There's nothing. I mean, zero. Even his immigration numbers are underwater. So there's no, there's no real will of, sort of benefit of the doubt that he's going to get, and he's not going to get one on Epstein.
Right. I mean, I'm sure he's holding out hope that people will just forget, but he's really underestimating the tenacity of the survivors and of the people who.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene's not going to. She's not going to be quiet about this. Ro Khanna's not going to be. Massey's not. No, I mean, I just think no. If anything, I think the continued fracturing of the MAGA and Republican coalition is going to continue to be partially because of Epstein. I mean, one of the things I think is, wait a minute, people challenged him. You got 216 Republicans who voted with those Democrats to open those files, and they're alive. They all survived. I mean, whereas before there was this he'll come after us. Well, and he went after Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I think he picked the wrong person there too. And so no, I think what's happened is the shield's coming down. That fear among some of these Republican members that you can't cross him or else. I think that shield is coming down. It's not the big impenetrable thing that we've seen for the first 4, 5, 6 months. And so I expect that to continue, not like all in one day, but just, every few days. The other thing I think is going to happen is I fervently believe that we're going to see more middle of the cycle resignations on the Republican side. I don't think Marjorie Taylor Greene quitting in the middle of her term is the last one. I think we're going to see a lot of people retire and say they won't be running for their seat, particularly if they're seeing the numbers that, I think a lot of people looked at Tennessee 7, if you're a Republican office holder, and went, oh crap, looked at their district that they won by 8 and are like,
yeah, exactly.
That's not going to be good for me. And I think some of them will retire, just announce they're retiring. But I think a few of them are so fed up with all this, like Marjorie Taylor Greene was, for whatever her motives are.
Right.
But they're, they are fed up, and I think you're going to see 2 or 3 of them just say, hell no, I'm out of now. And I think Johnson could lose the gavel between now and the election. We'll see. I mean, that I do not think that's a crazy idea. Some far out fantasy. I do think he could lose it. It's that close.
I think it's better than non-zero even. And Trump, I know you need to wrap a little early today, but Trump's whole shtick is invincibility, and he just, nothing about him anymore seems invincible, and physically and emotionally he seems invincible.
Well, like 106 posts that were all crazy in the middle of the night, and then falling asleep in his cabinet meeting, noticeably falling asleep. He was just deep thought with closed eyes. Okay,
I know, I got to practice that one. We have one more question.
Sure.
What's the most exciting race you're watching for next November, and what do you think will be the big story we're all talking about this time next year? So December, after the election. And P.S. loving to Joe's pod.
Gosh, that's a tough one, because there's a lot of really incredible races out there. I mean, I'm going to personally plug my guy Doug Jones, who's running for governor of Alabama. I'm headed down there on Monday.
Amazing.
To help him. But look, that's if we pull that off, that will be an amazing, is it just as amazing as this win in 2017. And so personally, that's like something I'm really but there's so many shared brand. I mean, there's so many really incredible races, Senate race. I actually think, by the way, getting back to the Tennessee 7 question, I focused on the House a lot there, but 13-7, like there are a hell of a lot of Senate races that we're not talking about right now that would suddenly be races if that kind of a trend,
Right.
continues. And again, what I was saying about that was the reason it was so 13.7 was, if you actually look at the numbers, it looked like a less energized Republican MAGA vote. They voted, but not anywhere near the energy among independents and Democrats who came out to make it literally the same turnout as a midterm. So I just think that to answer the question about one race, that really is a tough one. Because like I said, there's so many, but I think, look, the people that there's so many. The one thing I would caution people about is be careful with where you give your money. Okay. I mean, we all have like that race where, I'd love to see Mitch McConnell lose his, right. And we blow, millions of dollars. But I mean, it's going to be tougher this year because I actually think, like Dave Jolly in Florida, Doug Jones in Alabama, Amy McGrath, those are all candidates that could pull this out. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Be judicious. Really look at it. Lincoln Project has 26 districts and 26. That we're putting the focus on. I think it's important to like sort of figure out like what your lane is, what you can help make a difference in, and hopefully we'll make more than those 26 be exciting races, and be sitting here next year. Talking about not just those, but I think there's a real shot we could take the Senate as well.
That's incredible. Your lips to God's ears, and I'm just excited for primary season. I think there's going to be a lot of energy.
Yeah,
and I'm excited for the race that we don't know about yet.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going to happen. There's going to be somebody comes out of like nowhere. But that's what's so amazing. Like like Fred Wellman in Missouri too.
Missouri.
We've had that district. You look at it. You look at if it's just 7-point difference. District is, and I think the Cook report said that Amy Walter over there listed that as one of the districts before Tennessee 7. That's what I'm saying. So I just think there's a lot of districts that are in play. And by the way, I think again, that's going to cause these retirements. You're going to see people who are in those districts suddenly look, like I said, they only won by 6 points. They look at the 7 differential in Virginia, the 5 in New Jersey, the 13.7 in Tennessee, and you're sitting there.
They've never had a competitive race. They've never had to run a competitive race.
And and they've been they were like 3 weeks ago. They were skipping around. I don't have a race. No one's ever. I don't have to worry about Fred Wellman or whoever. And now they're like, I'm telling you, they're worried. They're worried.
Yeah. Well, that is a great place to end. Ending a little early today, but Joe, I really appreciate you joining and letting me fly Alex's ship here, and he'll be back next week, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, congrats to him, and I'm sure he'll be back next week, hopefully. Anyway. Thanks,
Awesome.
Sam.
Thanks all.
Take care.
See you next time.